And welcome into the Paul Farrington Show, a Tuesday edition of the Paul Farrington Show. Paul Farrington joined alongside Jack Weinberger, Robert Ziggy Ziegler, not at the University of Virginia, but at his home in California, and the best executive producer in the game with a camera on him again, Zach Bloomquist. We are very excited for today's show. I am pretty jacked up because Bryce Young looking good. First day of OTAs. We will get to that. Jack hates Bryce Young. I'm not quite sure why, but exciting conversations around him. Anthony Richardson, the more I see, the more I like. Getting more and more excited to see what that guy's going to do next season.
Yeah, because Paul's actually seen Anthony Richardson play when the Colts even haven't OTAs yet.
Dude, I'm a sucker for this kind of stuff. I get drawn into the hype. Matt Ryan, is he a Hall of Famer? He recently, well, he hasn't retired, but he's stepped away from football. You know, I think he makes $12 million as long as he's not retired. Is that correct, Ziggy?
Yeah, as long as he doesn't sign the retirement forms, he's bringing in $12 million from the Colts this year. So he's not retiring.
So is he a Hall of Famer? That's a question that we're going to answer. And then we have some fun would you rathers at the end. Ziggy and Zach both with questions for me and I guess me and Jack to answer. We'll discuss them as a group. A fun moment today for our show. I'll bring this up real quick. We had so I'm just sitting in my room working, and all of a sudden I get a notification on my phone that says Tennessee Titans commented on your video. And we had this reel up. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's country singer or Tennessee Titans wide receiver. Because we noticed when looking over the depth chart that a lot of the Titans wide receivers, and it's a pretty thin line right now, they have names that just sound like country singers. Like Colton Dowell. No one knows who they are. So Colton Dowell, who, if he makes a team, will probably be the most rooted for player on this show. Yeah, we're big Colton Dowell fans now.
We're a Titans podcast.
We're a Titans podcast. I see Tennessee Titans.
I would jump ship to be a fan.
Didn't Colton Dowell like our tweet?
Yeah, he did. Colton liked the tweet. So we see Tennessee Titans liked or commented on your video. And I'm like, no way. Like, it has to be like a fan account or something. There's so many different Tennessee Titan accounts that are on TikTok. And I go look, and I see that the Titans commented close regarding Jack going 4 for 6 in guessing country singer or Titans wide receiver. I put it in the chat, and all the guys were like, no way, no way. It's just a really cool moment for our show.
I was sitting in my summer class today, kind of bored, and it was hot in the room. I was sweating, and I wanted to get out of there. And then I see your text. I'm like, oh, this is incredible stuff.
Yeah, no.
I had to step out of the room for a second and look over at it.
Yeah, for a show like us, though, at least, a very exciting moment. So, hopefully one day, if we ever get picked up or something like that, we can go back and tell this story as one of our first times really being like, wow, like, someone noticed.
I mean, shout out to the Titans. I mean, if they keep commenting, I'll be a Titans fan. I'll do whatever it takes.
Actually, Nate Bain, if you're listening, director of Titans social media, I know he was the one scrolling, commenting on that because we impressed him so much. But if he's listening, look, we are absolutely open to becoming the official podcast of the Tennessee Titans. We're unsponsored, so just let us know. Yeah, my loyalty is easily bought. I'm tired of watching this Vikings team lose. It's just been one season. Wrote me in. I will be the number one Will Levis hype boy in the entire NFL media scape. Just say the word.
Yeah, whoever that intern is totally made our day.
And I'll be the second biggest Will Levis hype man out there.
And if the Titans don't want to sponsor us, if anybody else is looking out there to sponsor an up-and-coming podcast, let us know. We're ready to go.
Hey, we are at $3.99. We might hit 400 during the show.
$1,000 that 400 subscriber. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, yeah, $1,000. All right, so Bryce Young. That is the first topic. As I said, I'm getting jacked up about Bryce Young. First day of OTAs today. Bryce Young was taking a lot of snaps with the first team offensive line. Frank Reich, new coach of the Panthers. 10 out of 10 control. Just complete control. Poise. You could tell the way he was seeing it, the way he was working through progressions, accuracy in the throw, ball placement of the throw. It was all very good. The news about Bryce Young, every single time I see it, is positive. He processes information, as we said. We know the S2 scores faster than everyone else. The Panthers have already come out and they're saying, we can throw more information at him than any rookie we've seen before. He looks great every single day. Great accuracy. I am all in on the Bryce Young hype. I know that's only rookie camp and OTA's first day today. But this guy, I'm telling you, he's a winner.
No, he's not.
He's a winner. I know you're going to say he's not, but he is. He's going up against the greatest defense possibly ever in the history of college football with no receivers.
I've never once seen a bad review during rookie camp ever. Everyone's great in rookie camp.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, this guy's just going to cook. Yeah, I've seen it a million times.
I'm telling you right now.
What's the hype? It's the same story. I'm sure Sam Darnold was great too in rookie camp.
Has the magic element to him, and this is the superpower that we've seen. This is the superpower. You know, an ESPN article came out, and I believe it was their new offensive coordinator, correct, Ziggy? Thomas Brown?
Yeah, straight from the Rams.
And he said, what's great about Bryce and what they're trying to make sure they don't take away in the offense that they're teaching him this year, which is very similar, Ziggy will mention this, to the one that he ran at Alabama. They don't want to take away his superpower, which this guy has a feel for the game. He has that sixth sense. I've said it before, a little bit that you see like guys like Patrick Mahomes have, where he's able to get outside the pocket. He feels pressure differently than most quarterbacks, and he can make plays, magical plays, when chaos ensues.
He's a Muppet.
I love Bryce Young. I love what I'm seeing. I'm sorry, Ziggy. Go ahead.
It's good you say that about Bryce Young, because I just found a few more quotes about him. This is from one of the coaches of the Carolina Panthers talking about Bryce Young. He said that Bryce Young didn't look hesitant. He wasn't firing balls into the ground. He threw some zingers right on the money, and it looks like this is going to be a great season if he continues at this rate.
I love it.
That's not about Bryce Young. That's about Jamarcus Russell on his first day in OTA.
Yeah, yes. Thank you, Ziggy.
Yes. No. Like, hold on, though.
I have not once heard a bad review during OTAs.
I can tell you a bad review. I can tell you a bad review. How about when Jamarcus Russell was handed a tape to go watch, and he went home, didn't play it, came back. They said, Jamarcus, what do you think of the tape? He said, oh, very good, very good. You know, I processed all of it. There's nothing on the tape. There was nothing there. You could tell immediately that his work ethic. Jamarcus Russell had red flags all over the place.
Oh, well, in his OTAs the next year, they talked about how much his work ethic had improved and how they really thought he was going to be a hard worker.
But there were red flags. There are no red flags.
I bet you Ryan Leaf had a great OTA review.
Oh, there's a red flag with Bryce Young.
What you're going to say is size?
Yeah, of course that's a red flag. There's never been anyone successful at his size. And look.
What are you doing with Drew Brees?
It's the Bama QB room. It's a dark hole.
Drew Brees was 2 inches taller than him. I mean, no, look. I get that the Panthers are the perfect offense for him, right? You look at what he did well at Alabama, and it was basically all 11 personnel, a lot of bootlegs, a lot of play action. Mm-hmm. And then you look at who they bring in to be the offensive coordinator, Thomas Brown from the Rams. Rams ran 11 personnel, 87% of their plays last year, led the NFL by like 20%. So like it's definitely a good fit for him, and they're trying to do their best. But I'm still worried about Bryce Young, and the fact is, the concerns people have about him aren't concerns that are going to come up in a no pads, no contact throwing session. Everyone knows he can throw the ball well. We're just not going to know what this kid's got until you start seeing some joint practices later. But for now, at least he's showing up. At least he's throwing the ball well. And he's in an offense that'll help him out.
I think he stinks. I think the Bama QB room is a black cloud.
Except you don't count Jalen Hurts.
He's Oklahoma. They told him to kick rocks, and he goes to Super Bowl, and Tua is now brain dead. We've seen a million QBs come out of Alabama. McCarron, he's fantastic, national champion.
Yeah, but he wasn't drafted in the first round.
Greg McElroy, he was good.
But there was no NFL hype for McElroy.
Greg McElroy was a 7th round pick. No one thought he was going to be good.
Alabama QB.
But there's differences between the hype of McElroy and McCarron versus Tua and Hurts.
Alabama's the best team in the country every year. They throw to wide receivers who have miles of separation. And
Bryce Young's receivers did not have miles of separation last year. I don't know what Alabama football you were watching.
He lost the 2 good teams he played all year. You look at his receiver gets hurt, he gets murdered in the championship. And then he has no receivers this year, and he has 2 losses.
Come on, you got to give him. Can we break it down, the championship and then this season real quick?
He loses. Who is the Jameson Williams
and Mechie
throws the. Right, exactly.
Both of them.
Yeah, he did. And then he got murked in the championship
against the greatest defense in the history of college football.
He has no receivers this year, really, and he has lose to the only teams he's played.
But he lost on the road in overtime to Tennessee and LSU, two of the best teams in the country.
He scored 9 points against Auburn. This guy's terrible. He's 5'7".
You can't say terrible.
He's 5'7". He's going to stink. This QB room's a dark hole. Mac Jones sucks, too. He's first-round pick.
I was never big on Mac.
There's no university you can name that consistently produces NFL quality quarterbacks. Alabama, actually, if you look at the past couple of years, like look at the past decade, Alabama's done better than basically any school in the country. So I don't want to hear it. The only competition is Lincoln Riley or North Dakota State. Those are the only 2 schools that have had multiple starters in the NFL.
I'm imagining if people watching this clip right now are flaming you in the comments. I have to imagine that at the moment.
Good, let them.
First I'll say
some people just scout uniforms.
Bryce Young is Tua 2.0. He's a small quarterback who's going to be hurt.
Okay. I'm fine with you being concerned about the injuries, but I think he's a very good quarterback. He's very good.
Tua also had an injury list a mile long in college compared to Bryce Young, who's missed one game with a minor injury.
Bryce Young couldn't even go to the playoff when he had nobody to throw to.
It was two of the best teams in college football last year. Okay, for anyone who
AJ McCarron won the championship.
Yeah, with one of the best.
AJ McCarron went in the 5th round. No one thought he was that good.
Great defense.
I thought he was better than Bryce Young.
Different era of college football.
He's better than
You think AJ McCarron is going to have a better career than Bryce Young?
I'd take Cam Ryan.
Let's get you on the record. Okay. Then you just don't have to listen to this guy. This guy has no idea what he's talking about.
I watch college football. I don't think Bryce Young's that good.
Okay. For anyone who wasn't sure what Ziggy was talking about there with 11 personnel, that's when you have 1 running back, 1 tight end, and 3 wide receivers on the field, just to clarify. So Reich used that 65% of the time with Indianapolis. As Ziggy said, the Rams used that 87% of the time. That's what Bryce Young ran. Let me find the number here. I think it was 84% of the time. 84% of his dropbacks last year came out of 11 personnel over the past 2 seasons at Alabama. So, yeah.
Nick Saban loves it.
Yeah, he should be very comfortable in this Panthers offense. We'll see what happens. I look at the Panthers' schedule this year. The NFC North and AFC South. Obviously, you have a juggernaut in the Vikings in the NFC North.
They'll be 4-12 with that guy.
You have the juggernaut in our Vikings in the NFC North. But other than that, Detroit should be okay. Chicago, Green Bay, weaker. The AFC South.
Don't hit on Detroit. They'll come after you.
Dude, I can't. The Lions are going to stink. The AFC North.
The Lions fans have been after us so hard in the comments on our videos. It's getting out of control.
They hate us.
I say over under 2.5 weeks before Bryce Young gets blown up. And
I tried to defend Detroit. But anyway, they have the NFC North and the AFC South. Best division you could play in the AFC. And then in the NFC, of course, they also have their own division. So I'm just saying, keep an eye on Carolina. The defense could be in the top half of defenses in the league. If Bryce is able to be all that I believe he can, you're looking at a division that's wide open. The Saints are the best team in the division right now. But Tampa Bay, Atlanta, there's still question marks in New Orleans. Derek Carr is good, but I don't think he automatically makes the Saints win. So we'll see. Pay attention to the Carolina Panthers.
I have a quick question. Who's going to score for the Panthers?
Not Bryce Young.
That is a pretty good question. Adam Thielen.
We saw a lot of teams last year. All they had to do was score more than 20 points.
No, that's the big concern is what weapons does he have at the moment?
He lost to LSU, right?
Right. Go ahead, Ziggy.
Look, all I'm saying is people are talking about Derek Carr to the Saints being a huge deal. I'm just saying the Saints beat the Raiders 24-0 last year. The Raiders didn't get a first down until the second half, and they decide Derek Carr is the answer after absolutely obliterating him. So who knows what this guy's going to do in New Orleans?
Derek Carr just catch
the division's wide open.
It is. I look. You gotta say the Panthers probably don't make the playoffs this year. No, or don't win the division. They're rebuilding. They're in a rebuilding process. But I'm just saying, keep an eye on it. That NFC South, anything could happen. All right, Anthony Richardson. Per ESPN's Dan Graziano.
I'm higher on him.
I know you like him. We know Ziggy loves him. The Colts believe that Richardson has already made significant improvements. That he's working right now. He has his own personal quarterback coach, and that they're improving his lower body mechanics. Again, the big concern on this show for me is that Anthony Richardson sometimes struggles throwing the ball. I've made it a point multiple times. I don't like when one of the question marks around my quarterback is his ability to accurately throw the football. I think that's very fair, right?
It is fair.
That has to be a fair concern. So they believe that he's working on these lower body mechanics. That's more of an issue than the actual process he has of releasing the football, which is, if that's it, that's great news for Colts fans. Because last year, 53.8% completion at Florida. And if he's able to work with Shane Steichen a little bit, who's a little bit of a quarterback guru at the moment, with Justin Herbert, Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2020, he goes to Jalen Hurts, and after one season, we've seen the turnaround that Jalen had last year with the Eagles, 3,700 yards, 22 touchdowns right after being the lowest passing yards team in the playoffs in 2021. So there's some hope for Anthony Richardson right now early. There's good signs. Again, as we said, most quarterbacks and most people that you see early on in rookie camps and stuff, there's always positive news. But this guy though, I will say the more and more I see about him is his character and what they're saying about his abilities, the more and more I like it. So Ziggy, I'll let you start off on Anthony Richardson. Are you buying the hype that's coming out early just from rookie camps?
I'm not buying the hype that's coming out early from the rookie camps because I don't need to buy the hype. Once I learned Anthony Richardson was working with Will Hewlett, like the QB coach out of, I believe he's in Georgia now, is where he set up shop. It was game over for the NFL, right? This guy's the two biggest projects he has taken on his career, Trevor Lawrence and Brock Purdy. This guy knows exactly what it takes to get elite quarterback mechanics. And then you find out he's going to the Colts, an offense that's going to be custom built for him. Look, Richardson's problems have always been with footwork, right? This is the main issue. And that is one of the easiest things to fix. You see time and time again, NFL quarterbacks are able to fix their footwork, improve it. He had nothing to work with at Florida. I continue to be very excited for Anthony Richardson, no matter what, even if per impossible, the Colts start coming out and talking about how terrible Anthony Richardson is, how much he sucks. I still won't believe it. This is how bought into Anthony Richardson hype I am.
Yeah, I mean, he's not 5'7". He's got some,
right back to Bryce.
He's got some size. He's an athlete. I'm high. He sold me week 1 when he came back against Utah. I think he's very good.
I thought you didn't like Anthony Richardson.
No, I've always liked AR.
He came to his senses.
Well,
here's the thing with Richardson you have to remember is he only has to become an average NFL passer. Right, with his physical talents, he's already one of the 3 best rushing quarterbacks in the NFL from day one. Could easily be the best this year. All you need to pair with that, they've got decent weapons in Indianapolis and improving offensive line. If he can just be an average NFL passer, even slightly below average, this will be one of the most explosive offenses in the NFL.
I mean, his arm strength is wild. Like there was I don't know if you saw that clip. He's standing like the 30-yard line, just like flat-footed and threw it 70 yards.
He's a monster.
Which is insanity.
What I love about Anthony Richardson too.
I like the Colts offense.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a fun offense to watch if he's able to grow in the way that we expect him to. I like seeing in these young guys, and what gets me excited is when you have Anthony Richardson and Bryce Young, both of them, as we said, are in perfect situations for what they do well. With you have Young right now in the offense with the 11 personnel and the spread like we were talking about, but Richardson with Shane Steichen. And then you combine the work ethic that both these guys have and the character. There's not many concerns about how they act off the field. And I know that if you're listening, you're probably like, well, Paul, what matters is can you throw the football and score touchdowns? Like, yes, obviously that's the big thing. But Anthony Richardson, there's one story that came out recently. And Ziggy, I'm sure that you know what I'm talking about here. When a bunch of rookies right before the draft, they had a rookie event and there was a huge mess in the room when they left. And one guy stayed and was cleaning up afterwards. When Troy Vincent, the NFLPA vice president, walked in the room and he's like, Anthony, you don't have to be here right now. Like we have staff to clean this up. And he's like, we left this room in inexcusable condition right now. Someone needs to stay here and help out. And he stayed the entire time, cleaned with the whole staff, left the room. Like, this is a guy who is practicing in his hotel parking lot with Josh Downs the day before rookie camp. I think that everything you see about Anthony Richardson, like, he is just checks all the boxes. Athletically, stand-up guy. The concern is just going to be, can they get him to throw the ball at a like you said, Ziggy, a moderate level? And if he's able to do that, this Colts team, they were 4-12-1 last year, but another team with a light schedule with the AFC South and the NFC South on their schedule, as you know, AFC South, of course, but they might be able to make a run with the Jaguars. I'd be surprised, but like a lot of good times ahead in Indianapolis.
What helps him big time is the fact that he has who I believe is a rising star receiver in Michael Pittman, kind of who will become a security blanket.
You wanted more of a breakout last year from Pittman, though.
I agree,
but it was tough to break out in that offense, and he still put up 1,000 yards.
Yeah,
but for a rookie like AR, like he can become a security blanket. Michael Pittman, you have a great offensive line, so if he starts to
they were shaky. And that's the thing; they were shaky last year. Like the offensive line should be good. They obviously are overpaying right now.
I guess on paper it should be.
But yeah, on paper you have Quentin Nelson.
They should improve.
Yeah, they should be better than they were. And of course you have Jonathan Taylor. So
he's built to succeed. Like with his style, you got a good offensive line. You have Pittman.
It's just going to come down to can he throw the football.
Yeah.
You guys are missing the most obvious security blanket in Indianapolis right now.
What do you?
University of Virginia legend Jelani Woods. I'm serious. A second-round pick, the most athletic tight end we had ever seen. Literally, his RAS was 10, number 1. And you're telling me this is a 6.5 win team? Yeah, right.
You know,
give me that over all day.
In that division too, also.
They're projected to be like the third or fourth worst team in the NFL this year. I actually don't get it.
And the Texans will probably be 2 wins.
Well, their defense is shaky, and then of course, if you have a rookie quarterback with as many questions as Richardson has around him, despite the athletic gifts,
I mean, I
get the win total.
Can I see a world where Richardson stinks?
Oh, of course,
absolutely,
yeah,
like 1,000%, yes. And if that's the case, the Colts are going to be abysmal.
Oh, if that's the case, then they're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
So there are.
I'm just saying 6.5 is the same that Tampa Bay's got. They don't have anyone like Anthony Richardson down in Tampa. They got Baker Mayfield.
No, that Tampa team could be bad.
Hey, don't sleep on the playmaker.
Tampa. So Thursday on our show, we're going to have some conversations about what teams could be potentially in the running for Caleb Williams. Tampa Bay is someone who I am expecting someone to bring up, as we mentioned, different teams who could have the USC star next year. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with Indianapolis. It could be very exciting. And if I were a Colts fan, I'm just a sucker. Yeah, I didn't want Anthony Richardson for the Vikings, but if we had him, I'd be excited. No reason not to.
I'll say Texans fans are blowing me up in the comments on our Will Anderson video. I'll just say, you talk about teams that are in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. I'll say one who isn't. Houston Texans, because they traded their first-round pick for a bag of goods. All right.
There you go. All right. Matt Ryan, is he a Hall of Famer? So I believe that you used to have him, Jack, on your fantasy team all the time, right? Matt Ryan. You loved Matt Ryan.
Yeah, I was super high on Matt Ryan. I had him and Roddy White back with that combo.
Oh, they were fun to watch.
Yeah, they were great.
So if you look at Matt Ryan's career overall, 7th in passing yards, he's 9th in touchdown passes. And I believe, if we can go through here, the NFL MVP in 2016, that's the year they won the conference championship and lost, obviously, the Super Bowl to New England, the 28-3 game. We all know that story. 5 other playoff appearances and 4 Pro Bowls. So a very solid career for Matt Ryan. Is it Hall of Fame worthy? I say no, believe it or not. Despite being top 10 in passing yards and passing touchdowns, when you just go through other guys here, I'll break down a couple before we get to your guys' opinions here. Boomer Esiason, MVP 1988, conference championship win 88, 4 Pro Bowls, 1 other playoff appearance. When he retired, 9th in passing yards. That's almost identical to Ryan. Not in the Hall of Fame. Steve McNair, 2003 MVP, Super Bowl loss. Remember the reach when the Rams beat the Titans? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's the McNair Super Bowl loss. 3 other playoff appearances in his career, 3 Pro Bowls. Similar to Matt Ryan, not in the Hall of Fame. Ken Anderson, a Bengal legend, MVP, Super Bowl loss, 4 playoff appearances, 4 Pro Bowl nods, 7th in passing yards when he retired. That actually might be identical to Matt Ryan right there. And then if you want to take someone who didn't win an MVP award, Donovan McNabb, lost to the Patriots, 6 Pro Bowls, 2004 MVP caliber season. That's the year Peyton broke the touchdown record, 7 other playoff appearances. So all these guys, I know I just listed a bunch. What do they have in common? 1 really, really special season and a bunch of other very good seasons. No Super Bowls. I just look at that and I feel like when you're watching guys who's Hall of Fame worthy, most of the time. There's some guys out there who you can have question marks, but most of the time you can tell. I just don't think Matt Ryan was a top 5 quarterback much of his career.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think that when you talk Hall of Fame, you talk the absolute You're talking the absolute best.
You're talking Brady, Breeze, Manning.
Like the Hall of Fame is not the very good quarterbacks. You're talking the best of the best to ever do it. And I think to be in that category, you have to have something in terms of an accolade. Mm-hmm. And Matt Ryan doesn't have that. He has the worst loss probably in the history of the Super Bowl.
But he has the MVP.
He does, but he's had fantastic seasons. But I don't think, like you said, Paul, I don't think Matt Ryan has been a top 3 or 4 quarterback in the NFL any year that he's played in the NFL.
Yeah, except maybe the MVP.
Except you got to include the MVP.
Oh yeah, except the MVP.
Okay, right, yeah. Except that. Yeah, but I think he's right on the cusp. If you start putting guys like Matt Ryan into the Hall of Fame, I think too many people will get into the Hall of Fame, and that shouldn't happen.
I think that's already happening.
Because there's a ton of guys who have had unbelievable stats and haven't really won anything. I think you got to win.
Yeah, really, really good, but not great.
And have his teams been great? No, he's had a pretty bad defense most of his career, which stinks. But again, if he had beaten Brady, I think he gets in, but he couldn't close.
Ziggy, where you come down?
Well, you don't have to win to get in the Hall of Fame, right? Guys like Fran Tarkenton, Jim Kelly, Warren Moon. I hesitate to say Dan Marino, but like those are guys who are in the Hall of Fame, despite never winning the big Super Bowl. But I don't know. Matt Ryan, funny enough, he actually sort of already is in the Hall of Fame. His ball that he used to break 60,000 passing yards is in the Hall of Fame. It's enshrined, serial number 283.
Of course.
Which is a bit unfortunate for him.
That sucks.
That's insane.
Yeah, like the number keeps coming up. Like the last time that the Falcons played the Patriots, there was a lunar eclipse that happened at 8:23 p.m. Like they can't catch a break. But I mean, I don't know. Matt Ryan is tough, right? Like he won an MVP, so clearly he was very good. But the problem is just when I think Hall of Fame, I think guys who you can't tell the story of football without. Guys who made a really big contribution to the game, right? Someone like Peyton Manning. You can't talk about football in the early 2000s without mentioning Peyton. But you don't have to win a Super Bowl, right? Like Dan Marino. You can't talk about how like one of the best numerical all-time quarterbacks without mentioning Dan Marino. I just don't see what I don't see what Matt Ryan has actually done. He doesn't have the kind of profile to make the Hall of Fame. And you can look at his career totals and say, well, he deserves it because of that. But everyone's totals have gone way up, right? The touchdowns are way higher than they've ever been. The yards are way higher than they've ever been. He had Julio basically his whole career, if we're talking actual Hall of Famers. I don't see it with Matt Ryan, even though I think he comes super close. He might get in a weak year, but this is not a first ballot, a second ballot.
Oh yeah, for sure. Kind of guy. So we're all in agreement then.
Yeah, I think he's on the cusp. I think the Julio argument, like Montana had Jerry Rice and Brady had Gronk. You can't knock him for that, guys. I think he's right on the cusp.
Let me ask you guys, do you think, I'm going to bring up two other quarterbacks, because we all agree Matt Ryan close, but not actually there.
I think I'm thinking of the same quarterback you might be thinking of.
I got two in mind here, so let's see if one of them is. Well, one of them will definitely be in. I mean, I wanted to bring up Eli first. Obviously, he's going to get in. Yeah, but if Eli doesn't win the Super Bowls, do you think if he loses, let's say both of them to Brady, which 9 times out of 10 they probably lose both those games. If he doesn't win those, do you think he would get in?
No chance.
No, because I don't
think so either.
No, Matt Ryan statistically, as well as Phillip Rivers, have better stats than Eli does.
Eli is
right.
Yeah, so Matt Ryan is 7th in passing yards. Eli's 10th, and in passing touchdowns, Eli is also 10th. Rivers Ryan's 9th.
But like Eli made no All-Pro teams, no MVPs. He was never the best guy in the league.
He just had two of the greatest upsets in the history of the Super Bowl.
Matt Ryan was a better QB than Eli Manning. I'm going to beat the best quarterback ever twice to win a ring, so he's getting in.
And Eli Eli is the highlight reel moments when it matters most, right? Like the helmet catch is a moment of NFL history that will never be repeated. Matt Ryan is on the losing end of a moment of NFL history that'll probably never be repeated.
I do want to bring up, though, the Julio Jones catch against New England, that sideline catch, one of the greatest plays in the history of the Super Bowl that will probably be forgotten most of the time. And that catch is I don't know how he got his foot down. That was right. I think they took a sack right after that, something like that. But I mean, wow, that is the worst loss ever. And as a Viking fan, I know bad losses, and that was tough to watch.
To counter all this, do we think that if they'd won that Super Bowl, Matt Ryan would be a Hall of Famer?
That's another thing I wanted to add.
Because their defense, it's on the defense. Like, how do you blow that?
But it's not just on the defense. How many points have they scored in that second half?
Yeah, but still, if we're saying that Matt Ryan should be in the Hall of Fame if he wins that, which I am, then you think back, it's all right, you're up by 25 and
Ziggy, do you think he's a Hall of Famer if he wins that game?
I think he's probably a Hall of Famer. And unfortunately, them's the breaks, right? The fact is, it's not primarily his fault they lost that game.
Right.
A lot of things happened that were outside of his control, but it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, you're right.
That's just the tough fact of the NFL, right? If you want to get in with a borderline profile, you've got to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
look like he never led the NFL in passing yards. He never led in touchdowns. He wasn't like an innovator, right? Matt Ryan didn't progress the game in an important way, like say a Dan Marino did. Like Matt Ryan is just close, and Super Bowl wins are the kind of thing that can take people who are close. Because he probably wins Super Bowl MVP too, right?
Yes.
Like it's in him or Julio probably, and those are the kinds of things that can make a difference. But he doesn't have it.
Yeah, I still even if they win, I think it's close, but you probably give him the nod. And then the other guy I wanted to bring up,
he would have beaten Tom Brady.
Yeah, and the other thing I wanted to bring up, Zach. Let's see if we're thinking of the same quarterback here. Is Stafford? No. All right, we'll get to your guy in a second. But
Stafford's a Hall of Famer.
Well, Stafford, I mean, that was a big question after they won the Super Bowl. Has he done enough now? Because he's also statistically, he's not top 10 in passing yards or pass touchdowns, but he's right there as well. And now he has the ring to go alongside it. That's a tough one.
Stafford has made one Pro Bowl and no other accolades.
Yeah, no MVP.
No, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I think
people were talking about it.
I think he's been a slightly above average QB his whole career, and then he won a Super Bowl.
He's also been on
he also
the Lions.
He also had Megatron.
You know what's funny though is when you hear players talking about Matthew Stafford, Aaron Rodgers talks about him like glowingly. He always said they talked.
Of course he is.
No, but like Aaron Rodgers, they asked him one time. I can't remember. It was like who can make. Rodgers had like a no-look pass or something, and they're like, "Can anyone else in the league pull that off?" Whatever he did, and he said, "There's a guy over in Detroit who's pretty damn good." And not a lot of people know. Not a lot of people acknowledge.
He's very good, but I mean, the Lions were terrible. I know, but he had Megatron and played in one playoff game in his entire career in Detroit.
I think they had two. Yeah, I mean that franchise, like we said, there's the Browns and the Lions.
But I think that sucks for him.
Yeah,
it sucks for him.
He was never a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. Again, he made the Pro Bowl 1 year. If you want to make the Hall of Fame without having any kind of postseason success. And the fact is, like, he did well for the Rams, but this is close to the end of his career. That's probably where it's going to end. It's one Super Bowl. You have to consider a whole career. You've got to have some individual excellence, and making the Detroit Lions all-time team does not count. Because
I agree. I would probably leave Matthew Stafford out as well.
I think Matt Ryan's better than Matt Stafford.
In terms of complete resume?
Yeah. Like, I would rather have Matt Ryan as my QB than Matt Stafford.
I think Ryan.
An MVP has to be worth more than a Super Bowl ring. I think it just has to be.
That's tough. I don't know.
Probably. But an MVP.
No, Stafford didn't even get Super Bowl MVP. Cooper Kupp did.
Yeah. But an MVP does not beat 2 Super Bowls in the case of Eli.
That Rams D was also fantastic, too.
Stafford's right up there with the stats. So it's. I think that Stafford's closer than you guys are saying, though I would probably also leave him out.
I mean, I feel like the stats, maybe with both guys, but Stafford more so could be more inflated because he's trailed his whole career in the Lions.
Oh,
he's probably throwing 60 times a game.
He did throw a lot.
He's racking up the yards.
I mean, he's a great talent, though, Matt Stafford. Like all these guys.
He had 4 winning seasons of the Lions.
Cursed franchise. Look, that's why this year I'm saying the Lions. I know people are excited, but
they're a black cloud, like the Bama QB room.
Would you be shocked at all if Jared Goff reverted back to what he looked like during the 1-8 start? I wouldn't. No, none of us would.
Wait, what?
I'm fine to lead
Am
a
I
crusade.
shocked if they're 12-5 either?
Do I feel bad that I am debating in my head about leading a crusade against the Lions, like the lowly Lions who suck every year? A little bit. But they're starting to talk a lot of trash. And I'm like, all right, fine. You want to go to war? Let's go to war.
Yeah, look, they should, though.
They didn't make the playoffs last year. And they're talking like they're defending Super Bowl champions.
They were 1-8. I get that they had a great end to the season, but like
7-0.
I think they won like 8 straight or something like that. But you know what? Like, do something before you come at the whole NFC North, and you're talking to people who whooped you for years.
They went to Lambeau and knocked Aaron Rodgers out.
That was great.
I
was rooting for them.
They just won the Super Bowl.
That was a great moment. So like, why can't we be in this together? Why does this have to be like? Don't turn on the Vikings. Like, let's just gang up on the Packers. It's great. Jordan Love's gone. The Bears. Like, I'm fine to rally with the Bears and Lions here and say like, yeah, the Packers suck, but the Lions are starting their own war. So we'll see what happens.
Like, if I suck for so long and there's some hype around me, like
yeah, you would talk a lot.
I would. I think you deserve it.
I'd love to be allies, but they're making it hard. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, this has to be the first time that the Lions have had a preseason where people are talking like they might be a successful team, right?
They're like, people are saying they're the 3rd or 4th most likely team to go to the Super Bowl in the NFC.
I mean, I think that might be true, but 3rd or 4th fourth most likely team to make the Super Bowl in the NFC is not a glowing endorsement.
No.
Eagles, Niners.
That is unheard of in Detroit.
I get it. It's not enough to start talking crap.
Or at least a long time since they maybe even had whispers of that. But yeah, no, it's San Francisco, it's Philly, it's Dallas, and then Detroit.
I say they're the top 5 team in the NFC right now.
Probably, I would agree. But that's what I'm saying. That's where the confidence.
But it's like Cleveland. It's like Cleveland. They're a black cloud, so you never know.
Like Cleveland a couple of years ago was a top 5 Super Bowl contender in the AFC, and
Cleveland, Detroit.
Although they did get to the divisional round, so you gotta give them credit. They were okay.
They had a parade when they beat us in front of another stadium. They're terrible.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These teams like the Browns and like if the Lions win a playoff game, they will throw a parade. It's been 30 years. Oh no, when's the last playoff win they had?
That's a great question because they were 0-3 with Stafford.
They didn't win with Sanders, I don't think. When's their last playoff win?
So there's reason to believe.
They haven't won the NFC North in 30 years.
They won in 1991.
Okay, so they did get a win with Barry then.
But look, if you're the Lions, right, and now Rodgers is finally gone, and you have a winnable division, I'd be through the roof right now.
So I mean, but they're just talking so much.
They should be. Why not?
Because you haven't done anything.
But now they can. It's been so long. They're built to do so.
I'm fine with it. I'm just saying it would have been beautiful if Lions, Vikings, and Bears fans could come together here. We all have one common enemy, like one real enemy. Because I don't care about the Lions and the Bears. Most of the time, I don't care. They just piss me off when they have a 10-win season every 15 years. So the Bears and the Lions, it's fine. But Rodgers is gone. This is supposed to be like our moment where we're like, all right, you guys can suck for the next 20 years because you deserve it.
Now you're all turning on each other like, oh, this is me. No, it's me. No,
yeah, it's exactly what's going on.
And the Packers are going to sweep in. Matt LaFleur is sort of stealthily coaching up Jordan Love.
That can't
happen. And the Packers are going to be a decent team.
The Packers...
This is all a distraction.
The Packers win the division, dude. I give up. If they win the division,
they're going to.
If they win the division, we're becoming a Titans podcast.
Yeah, we become a Titans podcast if Green Bay. If Jordan Love throws for 4,500 yards and 35 touchdowns this year, I'm just gonna throw up my hands and say, yeah, you win.
We're a Titans podcast anyway. We're a Titans podcast.
We might be. All right. Let's do a couple would you rathers and get out of here.
Yeah. I'm getting tired.
Zach, you mentioned this in the car ride home from our last podcast.
Speaking of Lions.
Speaking of Lions. This is a great transition.
Speaking of Lions.
Yeah, that's why we're so good. That's why the Titans respond to us. It's because of things like that.
Hopefully some more teams do it. Hopefully the Lions respond to us.
I would love to see the Lions respond to this because I'm reaching out an olive branch. I'll speak on behalf of the Minnesota Vikings right now and say I would love to go after Green Bay together, but I don't see it happening.
It's like Game of Thrones.
It
Who's
is.
going to sit on the throne next?
It is. The throne opens, and next thing everyone's going for it, and it could be a beautiful time. That's all.
Well, what are you going to say? Here, take it. No.
Well, no, I'm fine with some competition, of course.
I'm kidding.
All right,
I'm messing.
As we said with the Lions.
Yes.
What is this? Would you rather, Zach?
This would you rather? Of course, we're talking about the Lions, but it is. Would you rather fight a lion-sized squirrel or 20 squirrel-sized lions?
All right, let's think about this. A lion-sized squirrel.
I think I'd rather fight a lion-sized squirrel because I think 20 squirrel-sized lions, they're still lions, they're. But I think
I think it has to be the 20 lions.
Yeah, because
the squirrel. Have you ever fought a cat? Just assume that a squirrel-sized lion is basically an angry small cat. Those things, they'll claw into you, they'll bite into you.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
But can they
what can a squirrel do? They can cause you to start bleeding like hell. What's a squirrel gonna do? You just throw an acorn and distract it, jump on its back, good night.
Just think about a lion-sized squirrel. A lion is a big animal. Have you seen a lion next to a person?
You think a lion-sized squirrel would kill you?
If a squirrel comes at you, I mean, I don't know.
The squirrel doesn't have killer instincts.
Yeah, but no.
The lions have killer instincts.
Yeah,
correct me if I'm wrong. This is a fight. We're in the ring, and
you're dressed up like an acorn. It wants to fucking
we're going
smash you.
A squirrel. I have to imagine the squirrel's teeth would be pretty big too.
Yeah, but 20.
They got claws. But that thing scratch. If you take one of those claws to the throat, you're done. No, I'm taking the lion-sized squirrels. 100%.
20 squirrel-sized lions.
Just kick them. Start kicking. You're gonna get messed up a little bit.
20's a lot, and they'll be feisty as hell too.
Yeah, you just gotta start swinging, man. I think if the squirrel attacks you, you're in some trouble.
I just think I'd get killed by 20 squirrel-sized lions.
I was thinking.
I don't know if a big squirrel kills me.
If you kick, you'll get one good kick. So maybe you take out 5 of them and one good kick.
I don't think 5.
I don't think out 5 of them. That's a fourth of them.
You're not taking them out in one kick either.
Squirrels are really small though, guys. You have to remember a squirrel is like, and if you're listening, you should go and watch us on YouTube and subscribe. A squirrel is like what, that big? Like this is not a cat. Like a cat is big. A squirrel is tiny. You can punt a squirrel.
Squirrels are not that tiny, Paul.
But they're lions.
Squirrels are not that tiny.
Squirrels are not that
No, but
tiny.
they're lions. They're lions in a squirrel body.
Yeah, but like.
No. What? Okay.
Yeah. That's exactly. Yeah.
Even if the squirrel wants to kill you, right? It doesn't know how to hunt. Lions know how to hunt in packs.
This is
A squirrel is smaller than this helmet right here.
But yeah, I mean,
Much smaller.
Of course.
Yeah, so I'm saying like.
I don't think a big squirrel would kill me. I think 20
I think
minutes.
you have a much better chance of getting a claw to the neck or like a bite and you're in some trouble. If it pins you, like
I think 20 mini lions would kill me.
Dude, think about a big sized squirrel. I mean, those things almost have like that's a
Yeah, but they're harmless though. Squirrels are harmless.
Yeah, but
All
it's
right.
not harmless.
All right, so let's vote here.
Yeah,
I am
it's just
voting
big. It's
I
a
am
squirrel.
voting.
Yeah, but you're fighting the squirrel, Jack. So it's implied that it's going to be angry.
I'm the 20.
No, it's not.
You are the
I'm
big squirrel.
the big
Ziggy,
squirrel.
you're also
Big squirrel.
Zach, what about you?
Oh, I'm taking the lions.
All right, so you, the fan, can be the deciding vote here.
Yeah, it's 2-on-2.
We can put this poll out on Twitter. See what the fans
I think it's
think.
an easy.
They can go
answer.
vote.
Where'd you hear that one?
I don't know. It was after you just came
Or
up
your
with
own
it.
just brilliance?
Yeah, my own brilliance. I don't
What
know.
Just
about-
sitting there
Somewhere.
thinking about the Detroit Lions, and these are the thoughts that
What
pop
about
into mind.
1 lion or 200 squirrels?
200 squirrels.
Now, one lion, you're going to get
Yeah.
tired before you can take out 200 squirrels.
200's a lot. I mean, you're gonna die, but
You die either way.
honestly, I might just take the squirrels because I know a lion will kill me.
Like you're dead.
Like I don't beat a lion 1-on-1. 200 squirrels, like I probably die, but like
Like you never know.
yeah, I mean 200 squirrels.
Squirrel teeth are sharp enough to bite through like nuts,
Oh, and
like
Ziggy's
acorns. They can
Ziggy's out
bite
here
through an
taking-
acorn.
Oh God,
And now Ziggy's out here taking 20 on.
I don't know, man. Like I just
The
don't.
big
Do we have
lion-sized
do we have a
squirrel.
weapon in this fight, or is this just
No.
bare hand?
I think
I'm
it's
not
bare
fighting.
hand.
I cannot bare hand.
If it's bare hands, we're screwed either way.
Yeah,
We're done
I'm
either
not,
way.
I'm not barehandedly
200
killing a lion.
200's too much too. Maybe like 100 squirrels would be better.
Yeah.
But-
God, that would be. I mean, I
Even
think the
100
squirrel.
squirrels.
The squirrel death is probably worse. I mean, you're just getting. Oh God. All right, Ziggy, you had one more. Would you rather? And then we'll get out of here. What was yours?
Good. So, would you rather have your hands replaced by muffins? So you got 2 muffins for hands, and they grow back and they can be whatever flavor you want, but they are just muffins. Or your concept of muffin and baby merge, and you cannot tell muffins and babies apart. It's like when you perceive an object, it's disjunctive. It's like either a baby or a muffin, and you just can't tell. People will say a word, and you know it means either baby or muffin, but you don't know which.
So like, there's a muffin lying in the street. It could just be a baby.
You see something, and you're like, I know for a fact. In the same way, you like know there's a helmet in front of you. You know it's either a baby or a muffin. It's one of the two.
I mean,
And when someone like eats something, you see them eating it, and you know it's either a baby or a muffin. But it's some weird disjunctive perception.
I think this is easy for me.
I can't have muffins for hands, so I'm gonna go with the.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with not being able to tell the difference between muffin and baby.
I need my hands as well.
Yeah.
I will roll the dice and just hope. I mean, obviously, this will impact fatherhood in many ways. So I guess I'm just out of my kid's life for the first like 3 years or whatever it takes.
Like 4, like.
Yeah. So I guess I mean he won't remember anyway.
Yeah.
so
Right.
He'll be like, Dad, where were you in this picture? I'll be like, son, I thought you might be a muffin. So
I was eating you.
yeah, I
I had
had
to pull me away.
Well, the question is, how fast do my hands grow back? Could I end world hunger?
So here's the thing: they grow back in the same way your body parts grow back. So like they grow back very quickly, right? We can speed
Like
it up as much
nails
as you
or
want, but
something?
you don't gain energy. So like let's say they get replaced every few hours,
Oh.
Now, like you need your hands.
because otherwise they'll crumble.
Wait, are either of you seriously considering the muffins as hands?
I might end. I could
You
end
know,
world hunger.
it's
I
easier
don't know
than
if
it's
you
ever.
can.
I think I could.
Well, you can at least transfer calories from yourself to other people.
So what are you doing? You're like plopping. You're basically plopping off your muffin hand and then growing it back in like an hour. So
Yeah.
you're just a muffin. You might be.
I mean, that's.
I don't know if that can produce enough to cure world hunger.
It'd make
In
a
fact,
difference.
I would say it almost certainly can't cure world hunger.
I probably could cure world hunger.
I
If
don't
it's
think it
me and Ziggy, oh,
You're
hands.
24 muffins a day. I don't think cures world hunger.
I
can bake 24 muffins a day.
That would take a long time.
I can bake like 100 muffins in a day.
Everybody gets a bite.
You have 48 muffins.
Not everybody gets a.
You're not curing world. You're not curing anything.
Curing world hunger.
All right.
Just imagine how traumatic it would be every time you go to a bakery. You see people eating things and you think they might be eating babies. Wow, and perceptually, it looks like people might be eating babies everywhere you go.
I didn't think about that. Now
think of how horrifying that would be.
I need my hands.
I would need my hands as well. So all right. So me and you are hands, Jack.
Yeah.
Zach, you are.
I'm gonna end world hunger.
You're going to attempt to end world hunger. I mean,
it's not easy, but it's easier than it's ever been to live without hands.
What do you mean it's easier than it's ever been to live without hands?
That's just true. It's easier than it's ever been.
All right, so you guys are not. That's an absurd answer.
What, to end world hunger? Wow, you terrible person.
I can bake more muffins with my hands than you can plopping them off.
Imagine no hands.
Yeah, but maybe you're baking babies.
You can't.
Yeah, it'd be pretty tough.
I would need to have
you turn the heat up and you hear some screaming.
Or you can call from hey, these are muffins, right? Yeah, all right.
Yeah, but it's a perception thing.
Oh God,
that wouldn't make it less traumatic. Imagine you hallucinate like someone bleeding out in front of you all the time.
It has
to burn the muffins.
You have to take your hands. All right, so there we go. We're 2-on-2 again. So you, the listener, can. 100%. They're taking hands.
Yeah.
Like 100%. All right. So there you go. Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson, Matt Ryan, muffins and the
Lions and muffins.
Lions and muffins and bears. Oh my.
Yeah, there's your show. We covered all of it. Yeah. We'll be back on Thursday again, talking about some teams that could be in the running for Caleb Williams.
He'll stink too.
We'll see if Andrew's here. Andrew loves Caleb Williams. We'll try and lure him out of his cave. Hopefully. We'll see you next week, or I guess in a couple days on the Paul Farrington Show. Remember, please like, comment, subscribe. As we say, it goes a long way. See you next time.